coming straight from the sewer. I think the beat the rough slinger, singer. Look at me swinging like a swinger. I'm thinking the rock, I'm thinking the microphone, I'm going to rock it. Don't jock it. I'm thinking the quick, tickety thick, yo, drop it. I'm coming a flash, I'm thinking the rap skill, pill, ain't it? I'm thinking the fight the phone to give me a track so I can train it. Or train it like Drano, get Mako, designer, primer. I think it's from the pump like the diner.
See, that's what's really important to me, art. But anyway, okay. Now, I think a lot of you also have the trouble with learning about how trolls work. Is it's like the more experience you have with trolls, the more it's just like a big bag of garbage, or more bags of garbage. It's like your garbage. You just have to keep emptying it. The more experience you have, the more garbage you had to empty. And it's true, you want to reduce the trolls. But there are key experiences. And see, this is the thing that the trolls don't really get, is I have been online from the nascent bulletin board. I ran a bulletin board. I won modem bulletin boards. I've seen this stuff form. I've known every kind of person. I've seen people troll for various reasons. I've known from their side why they were doing. I've known a fuller personality than the weird hobby they had done and how they got into it and where they did it. There are lots of, or used to be, controlled environments. As Graytix has spoken of, there's kind of historically had been a kind of, and still is, an honor among trolls. But of course you see these people, it's like the difference between script kiddies and hackers, okay? And also the hackers that are obviously malevolent. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a couple examples. Okay, the first example, this is hysterical, is there's a guy, Art Bell, you might have heard of. He has or had a late night program, and for years he was on every night for just hours at night, talking all kinds of UFO, Bigfoot, face on Mars, all of this kind of stuff. And he's had a big influence in that world and given platforms for people like that guy, Hoaxland, I believe, the face on Mars. Oh, excuse me, Hoagland. But anyway, now Usenet is where people used to go to have text, like forums, and it's a part of the internet, the web, and this is the HTML part. There's Gopher, and how many of you Gopher, and FTP, and email, of course, and so on. Well, internet relay chat even, is that a protocol? I forget. But certainly one of them is Usenet. It's the Google Groups is an interface for Usenet. Well, you have groups there in categories, something dot something dot something, science dot physics dot abstract or whatever, science dot physics dot abstract dot mathematics. People would create all these forms. Well, the art dot bell, I think it's alt dot art dot bell, was not made by Art Bell fans. It was not made by people that like the show. It was made by people, skeptics, that can't stand it. They're just obsessed with to the troll level. They're ready to troll as a way to express their built-up frustration with these people that they would call these woo-woos. And so they made Art.Bell, and they would just wait, because people would wander in, fans of the show, wow, did you see the episode the other night, blah, da, 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 da. And they would just, and often they had seen it. They're obsessed with it to the point of listening to it. This is where a lot of times people don't understand what's happened in the troll psychology. It's one of those situations where something is bothering you that you can't let go. Maybe the topic fascinates you. Maybe you're really, like there's a great magazine, Fortean Times. It goes into the Art Bell kind of stuff the way the skeptic Charles Fort did, where they know most of it's not true. But then some of the things have turned out true from Forteana. For example, cryptozoology. The great ape was once just thought to be a legend of a human kind of a creature, mystical creature. They found it. So, there's various things. I like News of the Weird, and I take it as a very materialist thing and don't put a lot of stock in it. There's interesting ghost stories out of it. There's all kinds of reasons to enjoy it. But if you're a little too credulous, well, then you make a show like Art Bell, and you're just sort of so credulous that these people, maybe they want to talk about that subject, or maybe they're just ardent skeptics and they go to where there's something to, they're activist skeptics and they go where there's something to be activist on. But then they took it to this troll level, creating this group that lasted for years, and that example should tell you a lot about trolling, both the motivation and everything else. So one of the things about trolling, you want to kind of get a picture of, well, everybody's coming from somewhere. So things end up making sense in some weird way. If you could see the Woody Allen movie about the guy's life or whatever, then maybe you'd get it and why it was funny or tragic or both or whatever. All right, the other example is somewhat ethically questionable. I mean, I brought the ethics up at the time, and I was sitting next to this guy, and I was working at a computer game network company. It was about 1992, again, before the internet was commercialized. And he came up with the troll idea, basically. We created an area where people could chat to each other. And because it was video game network, there were lots of kids. You wanted to be able to talk in private. And we honestly didn't think that it would all be sex chat, and it wasn't all, but that took off. So people could play poker games and stuff, and it was just so the kids weren't around. And, you know, there's a lot of things you might say, or even risque, or a little flirting, or this or that, you know, it's different demeanor. So, but sure enough, and that was a revelation to me. I realized what was really driving, and I started studying that and found out, oh, and with VCRs it was the same thing. Porn kind of drove, especially early adoption of that technology. So that was a surprise to me. But anyway, this guy, who ironically, he was a good friend and colleague for years, but and he was a Mormon, but this was definitely a questionable thing. So he made a chat bot that would just had a list of phrases, and it just combined them in random order. Okay, no grammar or anything, just hi honey, how you doing? It's hot in here tonight. And it would put a few smileys in. You know, we were hip to the smiley thing, it would just do that, and it kept a log, and that's trolling. That's the definition. If he'd created that just to put that out there and see these both examples are pure trolls. See, they're pure trolls. Like, for example, a really good, intellectual, awesome, helping society troll might be the Yes Men, because they put up their website not as a troll, but then it trolled. And, you know, they put up a website, a spoof website on the WTO, and people contacted them thinking they were the WTO, and they're like, okay, asking them to speak. Sure, we'll speak. And so that's the pure troll, where they don't see you talking about pie and then go scan. You know, they start right off with a way that pulls you in. If you're pulled into it, that's the first step of the scan. It only selects. It's a net that will only catch certain kinds of things. It might be broad, but you know what I mean anyway. That's the pure troll, because they're actually not even reacting. They're fishing. So it was a fascinating thing. Somebody could do a graduate research study on this. I disapprove, but I also have to say I had ethical quandaries about it, because I kept updated on what was going on. I never read the logs in total, but he did, and I did see some excerpts, and it was fascinating because guys would talk to this chat bot for hours. We had a face maker, so you could make your own face, you know, and choose your hair and all of this, you know, bust, shoulders up, and you know, and I think her name was Fantasy, and we made a real pretty one. And guys would talk to her for hours, even to the point of going, hey, are you using macros? Why are you saying the same things? You know, but hey, why don't you say something else? And then still talk to her for hours when she would just keep doing the same thing. And this video is to point out, this is kind of so you can get an idea that I've been on all sides of this thing. Now, I myself have never really been inclined to troll, but I have been inclined to flame wars, and I am a veteran of just gigantic multi-year flame wars. So I understand that, and I was susceptible to that. That's what I really had to overcome. The trolling, I just have studied. I never have wanted to troll. I never wanted to get a reaction just to make somebody go, oh, don't say that. I mean, that's, in every sense of my being, I oppose that. That's one of the things that, you know how you get your things that you think, well, it looks little, but it's what's fucking up society. That's what's fucking up society. People want to just toy with everybody else's mind. You know, the people that want to do that never have their own mind together. You know, if it was only together people, and for some reason all together people thought, well, I'll toy to their minds, maybe they would be helping them get together. Look, I'll toy with this until he figures it out. You can use trolls that way. They're toying with you. Figure it out. You know, no loss, really, even if you got embarrassed or something. You know, if they really drive you insane, then, you know, the thing is, like I said, you could be in control of your environment online. You can turn off the computer. If a troll has ever pushed your button, resist that urge to say, well, I'm just going to tell them this will show them, because later you'll be looking at it going, why did I think that would help? turn off the computer. If you're playing this game and you risk getting a button actually pushed, or just it happens, just turn off the computer, walk away from the computer.